Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Cut to the Chase Sports Podcast, bringing unique insight analysis behind your favorite teams at all levels at this point. I'm your host, Chase Johnson. Today, we've got a special guest. He's from the city of Indianapolis. The amount of connections I've made with Indianapolis recently has been insane in many parts of life, and this just happens to be another great one. Was born in Indianapolis, played at Cathedral High School, played over 10 years in the NFL, was multiple Pro Bowl selections, all-pro selection as well. Does a bunch of broadcasting down in Nashville, where he had a very good career for the Titans/Oilers and played for the Eagles. Blaine Bishop, thanks for taking time out of your day to come on the show.
Appreciate it, Chase, man. Thanks for having me on, man. It's always a joy to kind of go back through memory lane because I don't think I probably enjoyed it the way I should have during the process. Always, as an athlete yourself, always trying to see how you can get better and continue to improve individually as a player. And I said I'll have many times to sit on my front porch and throw rocks at the kids going by, man, and enjoy my time. So that's
definitely. It's always like, you're living in the moment and you're thinking about, like you mentioned, like getting better at what you're trying to do and trying to be the very best at that. And then you look back and you're like, I did a pretty good job. I mean, obviously there's this and that. Wish I could have done better. But when you sit back and look at what's going on, you got to say, this, I put my all into it. And that's the big thing, putting your all into it and putting every ounce of effort that you can into it.
Yeah, I was always from the beginning, because I caught the tail end of some of the guys that I idolized watching growing up and everything else. So I always said I wanted to give 110%. When I turn on the tape, I need to be satisfied. And once I felt like I couldn't do the things I used to do, then that was going to be the signal, let alone your body, how much your body can hold up and be durable enough to withstand playing multiple years. So once that happened, then that was the signal for me. I probably could have kind of squeaked in a couple more years, but I said, nah, I can't turn on the tape and see what I'm seeing now. What made my body broke down.
You got to go out feeling good at that point. And being able to go out on your own terms is, is a big thing in that regard. But man, the start for you. So obviously born in Indianapolis, went to Cathedral High School. We had a talk before the show about how you're actually at St. Joseph's and then made the transfer to Ball State. Just back then, there was, a lot going on and trying to defy some of these odds, man. What was that whole journey like to get to a point when you're second team All-MAC twice in 3 years at Ball State?
Man, it was really fascinating. A lot of it, I couldn't have even predicted some of it. It was kind of a maturation process. I really would say through failures, and I never looked at it as though that was telling me to stop. And it started in high school where, nobody really, no Division I programs really recruited me. I was all Division II, Division III. And I really, my whole goal was to play Division I football. And that way I can get a scholarship and be the first in my family to go to college and get a degree. So that was kind of the way of the road and the land for me. And that was the goal. That was it. That was the highlight of it all. And, going to Cathedral, private Catholic school, we had the same colors as Notre Dame. So I grew up a Notre Dame fan, and I naturally wanted to go there, but not getting recruited by any Division I program just because they said my size was really eye-opening at that time, considering that I made all city, all state, all metro, and anything you could make it. So me and a couple of buddies decided to go to St. Joseph's College in Rensselaer, Indiana, and I had never been to Rensselaer until I got there on campus, and that's all of us and somebody of ours, mine, and we all went down there. We wanted to prove that we were better than, Division II. And so it was probably a stopping ground, but not knowing if it was or wasn't, we felt like, hey, we're going to go down here and give it our all. And if we're there for 4 years, we graduate. If not, we move on. And so, fortunately for me, I was a hard worker, like most. And, but that took me another level to making me dig deeper and even harder and grind just to show and prove that really to myself that I was as good as I thought I was. And so that was really the ultimate push to get me over the hurdle, and then start running heels and doing things I had never done before and power cleans. And then next thing you know, man, my explosiveness and my power just kind of went to a whole nother level athleticism. And that was all inspired by failing and the fire that it lit up in me. And I was already kind of a fiery guy, but as far as just my work ethic, I felt like I was unmatched, and I took it to another level. And once I got to St. Joe's, I was a running back always through my heart and soul, and I always played running back, growing up little leagues all the way through, even at Cathedral. But I made all DB at, at high school, which we kind of rotated three guys. We had three guys. We all rotated. We started three running backs. We called ourselves the Killer Bees: Robert Beatty, Bobby Brady, and Blaine Bishop. So it was pretty cool. So that was fun. And then I got to college. They were saying you're defensive back. I started immediately. And then the fourth game, two guys got injured and going into the game. And so I was going to be a backup running back in that game. And the starter got injured. And then I ended up playing, scoring four different ways. And unbeknown to me, there were two scouts there after the game. And they came up to me saying they were watching some other guys on the other team. And they said I had a shot at the NFL. I mean, this is literally 4 months after I didn't even get a Division I offer. And I actually was stunned when they said that. I even said, "You talking about me? Like, really?" He said, "Well, you're the only bow-legged guy out there. I'm pretty sure that was you." So it was the Jets and the Giants at the time. I couldn't even tell you the names, and it kind of caught me by surprise. And actually, I really didn't think that much of it after the fact. After that day was up, until the season was over, and I made Division II All-American. And then that's when I said, there may be something to this. I don't know. So I just went back to my high school coach, who was the president of the school as well, Coach McGinley, and asked him, was I a Division I football player now? He said, absolutely. And so that was literally, I don't know, 5 months after I got being recruited, or the summer was up, let's say. And so he said, you go to Indiana State, football program's a little shaky. Ball State is solid. IU, you may have to wait another year. And then, the rules are a little bit different there, whether you're moving up or same. It's, I had to sit out. So I used it as a redshirt year, and this scout team, I could only practice. And after the first semester, they offered me a scholarship. And they said you can be third string running back, or you could compete to start at corner. And so eventually Coach Mentor, I asked him a question like, "Hey man, who am I competing with?" Because they had two guys that they recruited that started the years I came out of high school. Out of the same year, I was like stunned.
Crazy.
I was like, man, I don't know how this recruiting stuff goes. Boy, somebody missed the boat, And they were good players and good dudes, and they started as young players, so obviously they were pretty good. So I was a little concerned how that would work out, and asking him, Coach Mentor, how that would all work out, and he was like, "Well, we'll handle that. Don't worry about it." And he did. And they were actually, one of them was still good friends there, Keith Hackett. He was from Lexington. So yeah. So that worked out. And the next thing you know, I'm starting, and then they were telling me, after games, like, 15 teams were here, 10 teams. And I was like, well, dang, why didn't y'all tell me? They were like, you wouldn't have played any different. So, that hard work and the way I played and turned on film, I was not going to. Every play was a dire straits for me, and I put myself in that kind of condition and challenged myself. I wasn't a long distance runner, so when we did stuff like that, I then gradually over summer got better and better at it, and I was just, man, I felt my confidence continue to grow, and it was really, your conscious mind telling you what people are telling you that you're not, and then I'm verifying that is not true, and that's what I kept going back to when the confidence kept growing, that I am right, and not knowing the NFL was the end all be all, because I just want to play Division I. And then as time went on, and you realize that I may have a shot at the NFL. I was super excited, but I almost didn't believe it, to be honest. I never thought that, dang, I'm gonna be an NFL player. That I kept grinding and kept getting better. Watched film a lot. I worked hard. Everything that I did, academics, I was a good student. Honor student. I just worked hard at everything I did. It didn't matter, and I was very focused and driven throughout that process. A lot of that had to do with my mother and all the things that she kind of put me in leadership programs, CLD. I was Boys Club Youth of the Year. I was keynote speakers at different events. She had me go to Culver Military in the summers academy, which was an elite school. Had no idea, and I didn't need to go. I was already it was something fun to do. You interact and learn a lot about different people from all across the country. And actually, the late great Mr. K.S. Bud Adams of the Oilers, he was the owner, went to Culver Military Academy. And that's why he drafted me.
There you go.
I might have not got drafted. So I would say that was the 14th pick, man. So, there's more picks now, but that was the first year they went from 12 to 8, then 7. So I was the year that was 8. So I barely squeaked in there. So I was a little nervous that I wasn't going to get drafted. I thought I was a middle round player, but that didn't come to fruition. So I went to the library, said I got to take the quiz. I got to study for a test because obviously I'm not getting drafted.
Didn't they call you? Did they call you for about the 5th round? Wasn't it like the 5th round they were going to see?
The Oilers had called me in the 5th round and said they're probably going to take me. That's what they said. And I was super excited. And then I was sitting there with my 2 roommates, and then that they didn't call, and we saw somebody else's name come on the ticker. I was like, uh-oh. And we all got to be like, well, we got to go. And everybody, we just left. And I was like, hey, man, because I started seeing guys' names I had never heard of. I studied the game a lot, and I went to the All-Star games, a blue-gray game, and the Senior Bowl, and the Combine, and I'm like, hey, man, I knew the guys that were better than me. There were a bunch of them, but it got to a point now. I'm like, I've never heard of this guy.
Yeah.
So then I got a little disturbing there. So I thought that was another torch that I put in the pocket. That another fire, another chip I put on my shoulder to elevate me again, and it did. And you just wonder how far you can push yourself. And I had no idea. And if those things didn't happen to me along the way, I don't know if I would have continued to push. And I call them failures because it was people telling me what I wasn't. I never said I was. It's just that I was just working hard to get there. And so I think those benefited me a lot. Where some people may have just said, "Man, okay, then I'm not," and kept it going. And where in my mind, I thought, I don't know. I think I got a little more than that. I may be at the bottom end of maybe being Division I, but I'm a Division I player. I may not be a high-level NFL player, but once we get there, there's more than just athleticism. When you get there, you got to have some mental toughness. You got to have some fortitude. You got to have some instincts. Some great athletes sometimes don't have great instincts.
Yeah,
that makes them an average athlete, at least at the pro level. So if not, then all the people who went to Notre Dame, Alabama, Ohio State, they would all be great. And that's not the case. Yeah, a lot of them are.
Yeah, definitely.
but not all of them. So there's a reason for that. So that's where a guy like myself who study film and, enjoy the game, and I was passionate about the game. I love the game. To be honest, I would have probably played for free. That's how much I love the game. And when you turn on the tape and you watch me, I felt like I was connection to the fan base at wherever I did on the field, from middle school, grade school, high school, college, St. Joe, Ball State. That was me. I was that guy who got out the stands and said, hey, man, I can play. And that's how hard I played. That's
a fact. Let's talk about that, man, because when you got to the league a couple years in, you got a Pro Bowl selection in 95, 3 straight years of Pro Bowl selections, and also in 2000. But you're renowned as one of the hardest hitting safeties in the National Football League right there. I mean, that doesn't come easy. And trust me, those hits were hard, man. What was that like? Just like, blitzing and just letting people know that, Blaine Bishop is here and he is not playing around with you, What was that like?
Well, I actually became, I was an aggressive guy. Don't get me wrong, but, I had never reached that level of physicality. That came with, just really working the weight room. And because when I got there, I was kind of a nickel dime guy and a special team player. And to be honest, that was the first time. I have to tell you this. This is the first time I thought that, the NFL is hard. And I was in my rookie year in training camp. You go from Indiana humidity to Texas humidity. It was different. I thought I was going to just die, really, to be honest, in so many terms, because I was losing weight, couldn't hold food. It was just different. And it was hard. Guys were much faster and much better athletically than I'd ever seen before. When I'm talking about guys I've seen at the combine, to Alabama won the national championship playing with them in the Senior Bowl, to the missile quadri. I mean, these dudes, I was like, oh, I don't know. I started, this is the first time ever that I started having doubts. And I called my mom and I said, hey, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. It was hitting me from all angles, from from the heat, the athleticism, to the physicality, to the toughness of these players, and how they were, bad dudes. They was like, ooh, this is. So it put a test to me, and I came to a point where I was getting my butt whooped one too many times in training camp as a rookie. Throughout that process, you're going through OTAs and mini camps and all that. And I felt pretty good. I knew the things I needed to work on, but nobody's going full go though. It's never that. Athletically, I'm like, oh, okay, I can move with these guys. And, they were running, shooting. And that was the last year Warren Moon was there, and they had some great players there. And I was like, wow, I don't know. This is going to be difficult. I started thinking about that job I had at State Farm that they gave me after I graduated. That I was like, I may be working at State Farm in Richmond, Indiana.
Not Richmond, man.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Was it really Richmond? Are you kidding?
Now I did all of that, even at the end when I was at Ball State. That I was interviewing for jobs. Like I've never. And when I say that, people laugh, but at the same time, my mom, throughout the whole time, not just even in college, just growing up, football is something you do. It's not who you are.
Yeah.
And you always have to have your B plan. And so that's kind of where it just stuck in my soul. I had no choice. I don't care how much I believed in what I was doing and what was going on around me. That is what I did. I went over to the Career Center and interviewed with and did. Yeah, that people were like, what are you doing? I was like, hey, man, I may need a job. I have no idea. The NFL is a very unpredictable deal.
That's true.
So I always had that mindset. But in reality, I was still focused on the task at hand. And so once you get your shot, that's all I could ask for was a shot. And once that happened and they were getting waylaying me every day, I said, my mom, I called her. I said, this is going to be tough. And she says, you know what? Who cares? Nobody expects Blaine Bishop from Ball State to make the team anyway, from what I hear, because there were articles, saying that who is this Ball State? They didn't even know where Ball State was in Texas. They had no idea. And they were like, he has no shot of making the team. She said, so what do you have to lose? And once she said that, it kind of took the pressure off of, this is the hardest thing. And I just felt loose and free. And she said, give it all you got. And guess what? That's all you can ask of yourself. No harm, no foul. Then you just keep it moving. And so after that, I kind of went out there with a different kind of frame of mind, and I had nothing to lose. So nothing to lose meant to me is when I got buried again, I went to a whole nother level, and it pushed me mentally to, hey, line what back up, and we're going to do this again. And they looked at me like, whoa, who is this dude? What's going on? Because I kind of just flipped, and then I just start being much more aggressive natured at anything I did, whether it was special teams or defense. And then ultimately I had some luck along the way. Some guys got injured. I was running 4 strings, nickel, dime. And then, they moved me to safety because some guys got injured, said, hey, you're going to just be here temporarily. And then next, I'm second string, and then the starter gets hurt after the season gets started, 10 weeks in. But yeah, they said you were smart and you can learn all the plays of Buddy Ryan's 46 defense. And so half the time I was playing linebacker, I was playing nickel and playing safety. So I thought I convinced myself it became fun. Like I got to do all these different roles. It was really cool. And it fit my skill set really well. So I have to say the system and the scheme kind of helped me elevate to those levels of Pro Bowl type player. That's kind of how it all started. And each year I just got better and better at it and understood how to get my body prepared, and the physicality, and was very taxing, but I was doing all kinds of things from deep tissue massages to needling to all of that crap, man.
versatility on and off the field, man. That's the big thing right there. But
yeah,
I mean,
even after my rookie year, though, I
Mhm.
still went and interned at Smith Barney in Houston.
versus it's still playing in effect, man. You know what I'm saying? Like
Man,
you're
I
still doing many
never
things
thought
on and
like,
off.
hey man, this is a thing, man.
Yeah.
This is hard. It was hard, man. You just
Mhm.
never knew where you beat it, because you get injured, and then because I was seeing live in my, then that's how I got my shot to start. I got injured, and the next year they cut him. I was like, what? That guy was a Pro Bowler.
I mean, dang, it's
Yeah,
I
so
don't
you
know, man.
realize that, the darker side of the industry is this is business.
Yeah,
And
that's the big
whether I
thing.
was better than the guy or not, they were like, well, he's maybe not better, but he sure is a lot cheaper.
Yeah, and it's like you see players left and right that'll they'll get traded, cut, move down the depth chart, stuff like that. It's just again that's the dark side that you don't see. Obviously, you saw it and everything else, and it's like that would have to be an interesting way to go about it. But at that time, you're like, I mean, I got to, this is my opportunity. I got to take full advantage of it, and that's what happened.
Yeah. That was cool because I had learned so much from Bubba McDowell and watching some of his things, and I kind of implemented some of his moves and what he would do because he was a lot more flexible than me. So I said, oh, I got to work on my flexibility in the offseason. I got to, so I had learned a lot. He went to the U, and he was a corner converted as well, but he had been in the league, I don't know, 7, 8 years. I mean, he was proven.
Mm-hmm.
So those things all came into play, and I was very attentive, and those guys all helped me develop at a faster pace with my work ethic during that time. So yeah, I was studying, staying up late at night at 12. Just I didn't want any mental mistakes, and I wanted to be able to play fast and let my instincts take over. And I thought that was a huge asset for me, as well as kind of having a photographic memory once I started watching film a lot.
100%. And I think a couple of things that I don't want to take this transition of photographic memory, but there are a couple of photos and plays back from the 99 postseason. I mean, what was that whole thing like? I mean, think about it. You got the Bills game, you got the Music City Miracle, then it goes to you play in your hometown against the Colts and just went, just were a stalwart on the defensive side. And then you beat the Jags. You go back to back against, I know the Colts weren't a divisional opponent at that time, but you go beat the Jags on the road in the AFC Championship game, go to the Super Bowl, man. What was that whole stretch of December, January like back in 99, 2000? That was insane.
Oh, man. That was incredible. And it starts with, we were the Tennessee Oilers in 97 and 98. And we played in Memphis, then we played at Vanderbilt. 99, we got into the stadium, we became the Tennessee Titans. And now we finally had a home field. And so we were middle road team all before that, 8-8, 9-7, whatever you want to call it. And that having a home, it made a huge difference. And we got one more piece to the puzzle. That was the freak, Devon Curse, on our defense. And that elevated our whole entire defense. I was the heart and soul, but he was the final piece to the puzzle. And that really helped our defense and elevated us. We were back to back, number one defense there with the Ravens, who were number one in some categories as well as us. So we're Ray and Crusoe, man, that, and then having a home field advantage. So that was really cool. We didn't know we were going to be good like that. As the season went on, we continued to grow as a team with McNair and 80 George on the other side. And man, our confidence kept building as the season went along. And then who would have thought? Even that Music City Miracle play was fascinating because we all had practiced it, all the skilled guys doing different stuff on Saturdays. It was really a fun deal by Alan Lowry, our special team coach at the time. I think he done a play like that in the 70s, maybe with Texas or something when he was there. But it was a fun thing. So yeah, that once that happened and that Music City Miracle play happened, I said after that we were a team of destiny. I didn't think anything could stop us, and I think that's how our entire team felt. Because I mean, you watch sports. I mean, man, you get some stuff like that happening, you go, uh-oh. And then to beat the Colts at home, which was great for me, all my friends and family could all be there. That was a highlight of my career. But then to then leave there and then go beat the Jaguars for the third time. And guess how many games they had lost that year?
Just three. All
They
you.
14-2, and we were 13-3 during the regular season. And they had a great team. And Fred Taylor, who to me should be in the Hall of Fame, and then Jimmy Smith, Keenan McCardell, Mark Brunell. They had dudes, man. Cersei, Baselli, they offensive linemen. They were really good. So to predict that we could beat them 3 times, and then to go play the Rams in the Super Bowl, who guess what? We beat in the regular season at home in Tennessee, because the whole goal was we never lose at home, Jeff Fisher, and then we split on the road, and we ended up doing better than that. That he knew where we were, and we were determined we were never going to get beat at home. So yeah, so then we played the greatest show on turf in the Super Bowl, which was a fascinating game, and one we just ran out of time, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, wow. I mean, that again, that's one of the most famous Super Bowls, and then you've got, again, like you mentioned, you guys beat the Rams at home. That's something that no one really talks about. That was the second time you guys were playing each other. The Titans took the first meeting. This offense was so spectacular, which, it was. It was Hall of Famers left and right. And you played a bunch of guys that should be in the Hall of Fame, week before. So, that is a lot for a defense, but you guys knew your strengths, determined number 1 defense in the National Football League. Best against best. You got to go with your own guns in that one,
Yeah, well, it was a little different in the Super Bowl. We were down some pieces, and so we couldn't come with the same game plan that we did there. So we made some adjustments, and it really was just about keeping them from scoring touchdowns in the Super Bowl. They were moving the ball all over the place, but at the end of the day, they couldn't get into the end zone for touchdowns as often as they were down there. And that was really the plan. And the ball control, and that's another form of keeping the ball away from the greatest show on turf. Marshall Faulk, Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt. We can go down the list. Kurt Warner leading the way. Lando Pace. They had guys all over the place, and they were really good. So we had some secondary injuries and other injuries. But we fought hard, and that shows you our mental fortitude and our toughness. We were a tough team, and that's what we were built on, tight and tough. And we just came up a little short. McNair was fabulous. Eddie George, those guys were, they were tough son of a guns. Boy, if we had to play 10 times, I don't know who would come out with more wins in that kind of game, man. That would be really interesting. I wish we could predict that, man. But we can go play on, Xbox or something.
Hey, there you go, man. Go back to Madden 2000 right there. I have to get the PS2 out, man. Got to dust it off. That's cool. That's awesome to hear. But so your last year in the league, you played for the Eagles, and you're with the other hard-hitting safety, Brian Dawkins. Okay, so he's got a personality himself, all right? Football personality. You got your own personality. You guys were really good in 2002. Man, what was that like playing with a guy like him, and then playing for a coach like Andy Reid, who at that time, Reid made, what was it? I think 5 straight NFC Championship games with the Eagles. Just, what was that like playing for the Eagles, especially in that last year at Veterans Stadium?
Yeah, that was really fascinating. I really chose them because they had a really good team, and I told you I was just playing. I wanted to say I had a Super Bowl ring. I never played for anything. I said I would actually play for free. Looking back on that, how much I love the game.
Yeah.
Actually, nobody would play for free, but I love the game. And you could tell when you turn on tape, this guy, he loves it. I would risk my whole entire body just to make a tackle. It was just that serious to be. So go play with Andy Reid. He was a great human being, and he kind of laid it all out there for me. Him and Troy Vincent. Troy Vincent, I played in college at Wisconsin, and B-Dog, I played Clemson from Ball State, both at Clemson. We almost got them in Clemson at that time, but he was a fascinating player there. They had LeVon Kirkland on the team as well, and then he came to the Eagles. He was finished up from the Steelers, so they got some veterans, and Antonio Freeman from Green Bay. So they put some different pieces there, some veteran guys who had some experience in this league. And I really thought we were going to get it done. We have a really great team. Some games I felt like I didn't even I might touch somebody 3 times in the game. That's how good we were. It was fascinating. Weapon X was what B-Dog was. Oh, I knew he was really good, but boy, when I saw him live and in action, he was phenomenal. There's no doubt that he's in the Hall of Fame. That was pretty quick. That was easy. Troy Vincent as well, who probably, he's the right-hand man of Goodell. He'll probably get into at some point. But they had Bobby Taylor. We had Al Harris. We had Hugh Douglas and Simmons and Kirkland and Derwin Walker. We had guys, man. We had depth pieces, and the young guys were really good. Michael Lewis, who's behind me, as well as Sheldon Brown, Lito Shepherd, all guys high draft picks in the secondary. So they were setting it up for, they could make things happen. So I really believe we were going to get it done. And man, we just came up short there in the NFC Championship game against Tampa Bay, which they went on to win it all. So that was a kind of a shocker there. But yep, and that I tore my groin in that game. I tried to play through it because I had heard it earlier in the year, and so I think that kind of impacted me. And that was surgery number 11. I said I wasn't getting any more, so that was it.
Jeez.
Yeah. So Andy was a great human being. He tried to get me to come back, and I was just like, nah, I promise. My body is telling me. It's telling me, and So I just that was it for me. And so I could say I had left on my own term, but I would say the league told me it's time to leave because my body could no longer do to me with that. It was just that was going to be tough to come back for because I couldn't work out like I wanted to in the off season. So that was never going to work for me. I wasn't that kind of athlete like that, especially in going on year 11. If I would have, that wouldn't have worked.
But to still play that long in the league, with what you were having to deal with at that point, people in Texas not knowing what Ball State was, where Muncie was, and everything else, just making that run. I mean, that's, definitely, nothing to frown upon looking back at your career on that end. But man, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to ask you a couple rapid fire questions, and then we'll talk about your radio show and get you on out of here. I know you're a busy man, but man, all right. So here's the first one. Who's the quarterback that you had to watch the most film on, who's like, life made it a bit tougher than other signal callers in the league?
Well, I caught the tail end of Hall of Famers there from Elway Marino my rookie year. Warren Moon, even when he went to other teams, it was my teammate. But I don't want to isolate one player because that's kind of hard. They're all elite. Watching film, I tell you the one thing, it always was a player that a lot of people don't expect. Like, so I couldn't even, like, being a DB, we played the Jaguars and not the Jaguars, the Bills with Rob Johnson at quarterback, right? And he had a big arm. They decided to bench Doug Flutie to play Rob Johnson. Well, guess what? He was the better arm thrower, right? There was no, that's easy.
Yeah.
But at least from a DB's perspective. But guess what? The Tennessee Titans, we were elated. Because guess why? Doug Flutie was magical. He didn't just do things in the pocket. Maybe he had restrictions. He didn't have the big arm. But guess what? He would run around and buy time. So it was always, though, I'm using him as an example, it was always the quarterbacks they could do more than just quarterback. It was the guys who can elevate their team by buying time and running around. And as a defensive back, these guys are so good. There's no way you can cover them for any period of time. So it was the guys that could not only play in the pocket, but also could, get outside the pocket and buy time. I mean, so all of them, they could do that. And quarterback, I think those are the ones they're elite. To give you as a defensive back, I mean, all the guys are great. I mean, we can go down the list from Peyton Manning to Elway, Marino. I mean, man, I caught even Joe Montana at Kansas City in the playoffs my rookie year. Man. So that's what I said. I caught these guys were fast. I thought Joe Montana was done at Kansas City when we were playing him in the playoffs. I mean, his elbow was so swollen. I had his throwing elbow. I was like, there's no way he's coming out of the second half. He came out and just started torching us. It was unreal. I was like, oh my God, this guy's incredible. So it was unbelievable, man. Some of these guys, what they can withstand and do. So it was, So man, those dudes are all great, man.
That's a lot, right? I mean, in that 90s, right? You got people late 80s and then those late 90s that merge right there. That's definitely an interesting one. So I think I know the answer for this one game where you were just in the zone and it produced. I think I know which game
Yeah.
it is, but I'll let you explain that a little bit.
Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't even realize playing the Colts in the playoffs was, my best in totality game in the moment after the game was up until head coach Fisher said that to me. He said, "Hey, man, you showed that at every level of playing defensive back, this was it."
Wow.
And I really have to say this, and it was really because I felt at home. We had won state on that field in high school. We had won state, and then one year it was our home field.
Wow.
So we played there multiple times. But I was running around the field really early, and I saw Father Kelly, who is the chaplain for the Colts, but he was also Father Kelly that worked at my high school at Cathedral. And so we hugged and laughed, and he cracked a joke. He said, "Who would have thought Woody would have made it to the NFL?" Because I was never the best player on my team once I got to high school. Little leagues and junior high and all that. Yeah, but when we got to high school, I was never the best player. Even my senior year, we had some really good players. So never was acclaimed that. And when he said that, I laughed. And that really relaxed me. And I just said, man, I played so loose that game. I said, even Woody wouldn't expect it to make it to the NFL. And that was my nickname. And everybody called me Woody that knew me from even in college. And so we laughed about it. And then I went out there and played. And I remember I got like over 50, 60 tickets. It might have been more than that. I can't even remember. But yeah, that was a fun one because, everybody who was a part of me throughout my childhood, growing up all the way through high school and college, got a chance, and I made sure everybody got a ticket that wanted to come to that game. So yeah, that was a celebration game for me, whether we won or lost. But that was a tribute to all those people who's been a part of my lives, part of my life throughout my time, even getting to that point, because they knew who I was and what I had overcome, and that wasn't easy.
Yeah, definitely. That is awesome to hear, and how it all ended up in that day. And it is around lunchtime, but where's a great spot to grab a bite to eat in Nashville? What's your go-to spot in the city?
Oh man! So so I'm going to say something. It's not going to be food,
Okay.
but I'm gonna give them an easy plug because I'm all into this healthy eating. So I go to E Rose Wellness, and man, I go to. They have different locations around Nashville, even in the burbs. But I really love whether it's acai bowls and whatever. But I'm all into that. So yeah, that's kind of done me well, man. And so I'm gonna give them a shout out. Not there's great barbecue places here. We could give out the list. Nashville's scene as far as restaurants is elevated since we've been here when we moved here in '97. So it's gone on a whole nother level. So I'm gonna go the healthy route and make it real easy for me.
There we go. Got to start off the week right like that. And with you for your, you obviously with the Ball State with the broadcasting, and then that was a goal of yours. Now you're co-hosting a radio show, Cover 2 with Zach and Blaine. That's on WGFX 104.5 The Zone every weekday, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Central Time. And then you also do some Titans work for the pregame and postgame broadcast team affiliated with the Titans Radio Network. Man, what is that like being in this second career, being able to, do what you intended to do when you were younger? After the NFL, you're around the Titans still, in the city, microphone, every single different way possible, still talking about the team and other sports in the area nationally, man. What has that been like for you, in post-playing career?
Yeah, that's been really, really fun, man. It keeps me connected to the game. You've been an athlete yourself. You understand how at some point being an athlete ends, and then you could still be connected with your knowledge and trying to bring it, to on air and explain it to the audience and the fan bases of what you believe is actually happening out there and what some players go through from a player's lens, which is what I'm trying to do mostly. when I'm on air, and it's been a really fun time. Never thought it'd get to this much fun and this level that I've had, and so yeah, man, I look at it as a form of giving back to a certain extent, because when I was playing, I started doing radio. They're my last couple years, and I was just really motivated by trying to educate the fan base of what was going on out there. So from a player's perspective, so that's kind of where it started. And then, if you love the game and what you do, obviously most times you have a lot of success.
That's without a doubt. And man, I'll tell you, guys, that the city is going to love and hopefully love is that new quarterback, number 1 overall pick, Cam Ward. What are your thoughts on this kid? He hasn't really been talked about as much as a number 1 overall pick should be talked about, considering he is the number 1 overall pick. And this dude is just so good and like nonchalant with it. Like, what is your take on this kid coming in for the Titans this year?
Yeah, I think he's wise amongst his years. I think he's kind of old school a little bit. When I say that, I'm talking about he's not like the modern, young generation. I think he has some, ways about him that are old school. And I say that is he's all about that work. And man, he puts in work and he understands. He's a great leader too, by the way. We heard a lot about his leadership skills, but just think about this. He was at 3 different schools and had success at all of them. All of them say the same thing, man. His leadership is it. So he understands how you got to develop those relationships, especially as a quarterback and with your receivers and offensive linemen, guys you're going to be working with on a daily basis. And he's out there grinding right now. I saw some videos of him, in Florida, working out with, some of the new Titans, the old Titans. And it was, he's like a veteran player. I mean, so I think he's wise, beyond his years, and that's why he's had so much success. He develops that trust amongst his teammates, especially on the offensive side, and they believe in him. It'll be interesting to see, because, you got 2 new offensive linemen pretty much with Latham moving to right, and then they signed Moore Jr. there on the left. He's got some more weapons with him. How quickly can that come together and help them compete? I think the goal is always try to make the playoffs. So when you're in a team in a situation of the Titans, and you're trying to accumulate talent, but how quickly can that talent, elevate to the NFL level, and how quickly can they develop? So that'll be interesting, including Cam Ward along the way. So it'll be interesting to see if they can even compete to that level of playoffs in the back end of that. But that would be the ultimate goal. But I think he's going to have some ups and downs like all the rookie quarterbacks. I would assume he would, be somewhere middle of the road based off some of the guys who've come out over the last couple of years. I don't see a Jaden Daniels or a CJ Stroud type performance, but I would say he would be right under that if thinking about expectations. And so as long as he doesn't throw it to the other team and turn the ball over, I think we'll be okay.
There you go. I'm excited to see what Cam Ward's got, what the Titans got. Again, a younger football team that, obviously with last year how it went. I mean, it always seems like there is a team every single year that goes from worst to first in their division. And that's the beauty of the NFL. Any given Sunday, you know that very well, Blaine. And once again, man, I appreciate you coming on to the show and everything, taking time out of your schedule to just talk ball and talk about yourself and what you've had to work for and work through and everything else. And I truly appreciate you taking that time, man.
Appreciate it, Chase, man. And good luck to you too, man, as well. We're going to see you on national TV at some point, I'm sure.
Hey, man, that's the goal, man. That's the goal. But for everybody listening to the Cut the Chase Sports Podcast, we appreciate the views, the time, and everything else. And we'll see you guys next time on the